you want a foot prop?
Do I want a foot prop?
Yeah.
No, I think I'm okay.
Because let me tell you.
Man, that's nice.
You sit down and you have a foot prop. Oh, man, that's nice.
You ever poop with a foot prop?
No, I heard that's the proper way to poop, though.
It's the proper way to poop?
There we go.
Who'd you hear that from? You just talk to people who know the proper way to poop?
Yeah, exactly.
That.
My doctor told me.
Your doctor told me.
I don't even have a doctor. I don't even have health insurance.
I went to the doctor for the first time in quite a while, a couple days ago, and it went pretty well. We had a good talk about like ADHD medication,
Nice.
depression medication. It was pretty cool.
It seems so weird to talk to them about that because they seem like they're I don't know, kind of hesitant. There's always stigmas based on like medication that people get, and like, you know, if they prescribe opioids or something like that, most people will say okay, but then when they get the skeptics that come up and talk to them and say like do you actually believe in this, and like do you know what this does to my body, and starts doing that, I feel like that must be so daunting for people because they're just doing what they're told at that point.
They're following a script, and they're like, I mean, to the best of their ability, they're doing their jobs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
they I mean, it's not like they have answers that like to everyone's problems. It's not like doctors just can solve everything for everyone.
Yeah, and they're taking on a mass amount of people, and they need something that's going to help someone fast. Like, obviously, if you got to spend one doctor got to spend time with one patient only, I'm sure there's other ways of like helping someone through their problems or whatever it may be. But it's like you got 100,000 people coming up to you,
churn them
like,
out.
yep, just fucking cranking the wheel. Here's what's gonna work best for you ASAP. All right, here you go. Here's some Prozac.
Gosh, yeah, it is so weird. It's funny. We just we're like, well, that's just how it is. And I don't have an answer for how to make it better, but it seems like there should be something different. It seems like there should be something assessed there.
And yeah, but I definitely think we're slipping into a different age and a different time.
Yeah. Like with holistic medicine and stuff.
Yeah. It's just crazy, like how we went from kind of knowing a lot about the earth as a people and as a society, if you look back in time, and then slowly that just like fades away from generation to generation. And now we're here now, and we're like, all right, we have this massive amount of technology and science, and we're like, we can create medicines and do all this shit, but now you got people that are looking back like, dude, everything's already here. Like, one of the biggest cures for PTSD is now mushrooms and psychedelics and things like that.
It's like it's approved for human testing all over now. It's like on stage 3 of human trials for like PTSD. Yeah. Or no, wait, maybe that's MDMA right now.
It's MDMA, but psychedelics are like right behind it at this point. There's a documentary on Netflix that just came out about it. There's just a lot of documentaries coming out about it now, but it's cool. Like you were saying earlier, it's like actual scientists are now talking about the benefits of psychedelics, and like psychotherapy is just crazy. Like, aren't you just supposed to give me pills and like say I'll be better? But like, you're asking me to trip balls. And you're asking me to like battle my consciousness and myself,
dude. Well,
get past this.
So what do you think's gonna happen? Okay, so let's say, to me it seems like the craziest, fastest thing happening ever. As in, like, I feel like in the next 10, 20 years, I don't know timelines very well, but like, there's gonna be clinics where you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go stay the night at this place and trip my fucking face off and melt my ego and hopefully solve some traumas. I'll see you in 2 days. You know, like, I think that's going to be a normal thing. What do you think? What's the next 10, 20 years for like the future of like, let's say, healing and psychedelics? And
I think that's the exact path that we are going to go on. Like, it only seems natural that if we commit to making any of this legal, which peyote and mushrooms are legal in now Nevada and some parts of Oakland,
interesting, man. I've never
California, but you don't want just geeks off the street going and taking fucking peyote and going in the middle of the street and
Absolutely not. Why?
like those aren't the right circumstances, and like that would just be crazy for the government to be like, all right, go take peyote, we got it at a 7-Eleven, and you go and just start tripping your nuts on the street. Like, no. So we're gonna have complete control over it. There's gonna be guided leaders through your journey.
Trip sitters
That are professionals that do this every day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like,
what are trip sitters for anybody who doesn't know? What's a trip sitter?
a trip sitter is basically a shaman who leads you in the right direction and keeps you calm and centered, because when you do these things by yourself, you're going to be battling parts of your mind, parts of your body, things that usually make you extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. That you would run from or
that
distract
you would
from.
normally run from, but these things
Your
make
ego
you
would defend you from
yes, and it makes you face them. You have no option. You're taking these so that you actually cannot run anywhere because it's internal, and you face them. And it's really overwhelming for so many people, including myself. Like, anytime I do it, I'm like, it's a scary thing.
Of course. Yeah, so you don't want to be just on the side of the road or just like at some party doing these things. It's so they have trip sitters, people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they help you out.
Yeah, and that's what's so powerful about these psychedelics and these experiences is it is a way in which it's just making you face yourself and your truths. And for a lot of the reasons that people take it, obviously like PTSD and certain traumas and things like that, it's the number one underlining thing is you hear stories of people in war and they can't get over the war. They can't get over people and their friends dying. And that's their only way to live, is to live through the experience of remembering their friends and remembering the days, but it haunts them at the same time and they just can't face it. Well, this makes you face it with help, with help from a leader, a shaman, a person who's really, really, really going to balance you and let you know that you are going to be okay. Because most people, they're just in it alone. They have PTSD and no one understands. Like,
I mean, they hardly understand it themselves.
They can't even, they can't understand it themselves.
It's something we're just as a collective starting to like find ways to actually help people, instead of just shoving off.
Yeah, it's just it's clarity in the fogs.
What do you think the next, because that's how it is, now, but as they become legal, there's going to be new, government funded, sure, some places, whatever, however it works, but there's also going to be new types of like retreats that are going to pop up all over the world potentially, especially the US if it's legalized, that are going to be like, you're like, all right, they're almost going to be like little Burning Mans of sorts. They're not going to be as intense, but I don't know. That's what I think. What do you think over the next, again, 10, 20 years, as like the Western culture develops, some sort of like shit starts popping up to where we can heal people with psychedelics? It's going to be a business thing. It's going to have to be, what do those businesses look like?
Yeah. That's what's so hard about it too, is because when you take these things, you are so far away from the thought of our society and like business and the way that the world runs. Like, you're so much more focused on the way in which you treat yourself, the way in which you treat others. Just kind of, it corrects you and checks you and points out your flaws and helps you realize how to counteract those. And as far as it goes in like a business sense, I think it's going to be a lot more humbling of a society if it begins to emerge the way I want it to, if it begins to really take over and have a foundation like I believe weed does now. It's believed by so much amount of the population at this point that we're going to see a shift in greed and a shift in just, I don't know.
The selfish ways.
The selfish ways of living.
of society, of living.
Yeah.
this like dog eat dog world that we think we have to. This is the only option.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that's what the big success is about it, is that it checks your flaws, but it also makes you yearn for a true sense of community and people. And I think people are going to become more drawn to people instead of drawn to technology or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I think it just has a lot of positive benefits if used correctly. If used incorrectly, which obviously it's going to have its flaws. There are people you can't trust with weed still too. Like there's people that smoke weed and do it for medical purposes. They do it for peaceful purposes or just, creativity or whatever. And then there's people that just chain smoke all day long and just stay high and do nothing and lay down.
To run from their problems.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The psychedelics force you right through that one for sure.
Yeah.
So, speaking of community, connecting people and bringing people together, Brandon, welcome to the Junkyard Love podcast,
yes,
brother.
Thank you.
It was a cool
much.
intro. We're like in the middle of talking about psilocybin or something. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful how it goes. I'm super pumped to have you here, man. We haven't been friends for a very long time, but we've been, we had like this cool friend to friend connection. We got linked up through a couple other creators, and now like there's a lot of Wyld production and Junkyard Love stuff in the works, each of our companies. So
yeah, this is just the beginning, so super excited. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bro, dude, I'm pumped to always have you here. It's funny because we've hung out multiple times and we're like, yeah, man, hey, bro, it'll be cool to meet you. Let's link up. Yeah, let's podcast. We can vibe out. Like it was supposed to be like a meetup to podcast, and we ended up just being like 12-year-old BFFs who just couldn't stop hugging each other. And like, dude, we just clicked really well.
Just a lot of mind bombs.
Yeah, bro, we're just like talking about consciousness within like 30 minutes of meeting each other. We ran it. We go out in the woods and we just run around and meditate and do yoga on logs and shit. It's just cool, man. I feel like we've got a good vibe. So it's gonna be fun to have you on the podcast. And for me to be on your podcast as well.
Likewise.
Because you and I really we extend our thoughts, past ourselves, and we talk about intricate things. And a lot of times I feel like we stumble upon things that are like, wow, this is an important subject. Let's actually let's take a moment and put a little peg in this. So I think that it's important. I kind of project outwardly, tell people not to be a coward and to like follow their intuition and do what's right. And so I think that airing these conversations, whether or not sometimes they're going to be, maybe we're going to talk about farting or whatever, it doesn't even matter. But I think sometimes we do stumble upon some important things that a lot of listeners would benefit. So I think it's a good responsibility of us, as we've talked about outside of this podcast, to get some of it on audio and continue talking about these awesome things. So
I think, both of us have obviously perspective on our side of life, and I feel like in these times we share a lot of qualities of a lot of other people our age who are going through the same things. It's a time like, just like you talk to your parents and they can all relate and say, remember the time when life kind of felt like this or life kind of felt like that, things like that. I feel like we understand what is going on in our generation and in our lifetime, and we can connect with a lot of people as it's happening.
Right.
As it's happening to me, as it's happening
look.
to you, as it's happening to us as a whole. And so I think it's cool that we actually can sit down and talk about it and analyze from different perspectives. So.
Yeah, dude, it's cool, and I think it's again important. I think it's important for anybody who's like, hey, I've been kind of scared to talk up, don't grab a megaphone and stand on the corner and start yelling. But dude,
I've thought about it.
Yeah, you always want to, but it's so easy to start a podcast. You need to spend a couple of days, spend a couple of hours, YouTube it, Google it. If you feel the same thing that we feel, like, hey, these are important conversations, they might help somebody out. Dude, start a podcast. Very encouraging to start a podcast. So speaking of different perspectives, my perspective from here, Pacific Northwest, I've always been born and raised here. This is where I'm from. You are here now. You and Lacey live just down in Portland, Oregon. And you guys super love it now. I know
Mm-hmm.
that. But so would you mind giving me just like a little bit of maybe like your background, like your move over here, maybe a little about what's going on with your company?
Oh, okay. Well, I moved from Phoenix, Arizona, where it's ungodly hot and it's pretty dry and flat. And I love to travel. I love to hike. I took on a lot of that scene, so I felt like that was a part of my life that just was complete or mostly complete, and I feel like I just wanted to grow in a different way. The Pacific Northwest is a very creative place from what I've seen online. I've been here. I love the vibe, the energy, the people. Like meeting you have been an amazing person, and there's something different about the places you live and the people that live there. And it was just a fresh perspective for me on meeting people like you immediately, and just getting hooked on becoming open and becoming creative and not letting, my ego or whatever hold me back from my creativity or what I want to say or how I feel and things like that. So that's a big reason why we moved. I love nature too. So, hikes and everything are beautiful.
You're in it, baby.
I could walk outside and I feel like I'm already like outdoors. So
yeah, bro, I'm gonna be honest. You're sitting on that side. I'm sitting on this side because I can glance out the window as I'm thinking, as I'm talking to you. You get to look at some lights.
I don't even care, dude. That looks so dope.
I get to see
that. Is so sick.
Good. Okay. Yeah, but so anyway, so you moved over from Arizona. And we got linked up through our friend Jessica. She moved over there. Met you guys over there, right? Or
yeah, she moved over there. I met my fiance.
Yeah,
and then they moved back. Then we moved back, and the rest is history.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. Like you follow on, like you're like, you just know this person is pretty cool. I can just vibe with them, I feel myself with them, and you follow that, and then the way that life works out. You didn't think this way when you're 16, but all of a sudden, like, man, I know some cool people. Oh, I've met them because of this person. Who knows this person? Who knows this person?
And it's just
cool,
so
man.
crazy.
It's
Like she always said, like, I can't wait for you to meet Jake. I can't wait. Like, you guys are going to hit it off. Right. You guys are like just alike and all this stuff. Like I just know it. I know it. And then like from my perspective, I'm obviously like, yeah, I'd love to meet him. Like, I don't feel like I've met a bunch of people that I'm like, I have to like surround myself with them, and I have to pick their brain, and I have to share my creativities and things like that with them, and my thoughts and stuff. And so I was just like, all right, yeah, I'll meet him. And then I met you, and I was like, just blown away. Like, you just like are everywhere and awesome and everything. Like,
bro, that's what I thought about you. I was like, dude, this guy fucking understands. He understands in the way that he explains to me what he's thinking about. I'm like, dude, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just very, I don't know, I have it very clear and vivid when we converse. It just seems like we understand each other, even if no one on this podcast does. Sorry.
Yeah. Hopefully there's one motherfucker, he lives in Alaska.
He's gonna be like, I get you guys.
He's like, you guys are funny. my name is also Brandon, and my middle name's Jake. It's weird. I don't know how it works, but
they call me Brandon Jake.
Yeah. I'm BJ, damn it. Yeah. Anyway, hey, leading in from a BJ joke, let's actually just jump into something that popped into my mind.
Do it.
That's so hilarious. But actually something that I think might be a little bit important, a little bit strange to talk about at first, but the bromance. So like, I've grown up in, this area is a mill, smaller town. And so I grew up with kind of like, I was wearing skinny pants, like I punk rock, I wore eyeliner for a while, and I would always be called gay, all these things. And it'd be a joke a lot of the part. And I get that. And I understood, like, they're just kind of big dummies, whatever. Yeah. But as you get older, you realize you're like, oh man, those things kind of did affect my decisions. Yeah. And then so you get into relationships, and I'm just very, I grew up, I have a lot of older sisters, a lot of women that have been around me as I was growing up. I'm just more intact with my emotions, I guess, than a lot of other guys. And so as we're talking, as we're sharing these things, I feel like I inherently have this like old little habit way back in the back of my head that I'm not really responding to anymore, but of like, like, oh, it's like a little embarrassing that you're being so loud about the bromance thing.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this is a dude though. Like remember, and it's so
Yeah,
funny.
they used to call you gay, and they used to do all this stuff for expressing yourself.
Right. Yeah. It's so silly. And I think it's just I think it might be worth talking about, like how silly that really is. Just pointing it out for one. So if you know, let's say there's a younger listener that might be like, you know, like, dude, I love my friend. Like, I love him. Like, and I like, but people call me gay. Like, I know I'm not gay. Like, you know, look inside yourself. And if you have, you know, these things, like there's a whole process of understanding if you're gay. I'm sure if you really think that you're gay, you can really go through that process. But like, if you know, like, no, of course I'm not. I really like this guy. That's so okay. And I think that in our world, it's hard to like assess that and talk about it. And so a lot of times, friendships go unappreciated. Like there's this, when two dudes get super blacked out drunk, you can see there's a lot of hugging, like, bro, I appreciate you. But I think I'm someone, a lot of my friends, I think you're the same way, that like, I don't have to have a single drop in me to like give you a sincere hug. Like, bro, I really appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your conversation. I appreciate this about you. I'm so glad that we connected. Cool. Yeah, I think it should be opened up. What do you think about that? Like, did you ever have any experience growing up, Brennan, about like being uncomfortable with like saying I love you to another male figure, let's say?
Yes. And that's funny that you said that. I was literally just thinking about this the other week.
Awesome.
Because I feel so comfortable now in expressing myself in ways that I used to be so scared to do, because the people you care about most mainly are the ones that will tell you you're gay, or like you look gay, or you're just not following the trends of society or fashion, or like you're trying something new and like they don't like it at first. And that, I think, is what hurt me the most and degraded me the most. Like, I'd hear my brother call me gay for wearing skinny jeans, like super skinnies, or he would call me gay for like just trying something new, or my dad would be like, why are you wearing that? Like, why are you doing this stuff? Like, yeah, I think it does look funky. I'm just trying it. Like,
right.
I kind of want to see how I feel in it. I kind of want to see if this is my jive, you know, like, but the trick that I learned, after a while of just kind of hiding my feelings and kind of brushing it off and not letting it affect me anymore, was repetition and saying like, this is cool to me. So they would like, say I wore some skinny jeans and my brother came in and was like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, that looks so gay right now. Like, you're wearing super skinnies. I would literally be like, I don't know, man, I feel fresh as fuck right now. I feel great.
Right.
Like, and
dude, that's like a little superpower.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
he's
That's
like,
a good one.
so he's like, you really think so? You really think so? I'm like, yeah, if you really look at me, like, watch this trend hit. Like, just saying that just cause, like, just to see if I can win in any sort of way. And then after a while, you know, I repetitively say that. Like, if he sees me again, oh, you're wearing those jeans again? Yeah, these are fresh as fuck, man. I can't take them off. These are so cool.
Becomes a habit. You just know they're fresh.
Yeah, boom. And then all of a sudden you see him kind of change. Like, I see him now, and I see like where his thought is. I'm like, damn, those are actually kind of fresh. Like, yeah, maybe I'll wear those. And then you go out and I'm wearing them, and like his friends will see me wearing them and kind of like look, and then he'll hit me on the shoulder and go, bro, check these out. These are fresh as fuck. He's on a new wave. He's trying something new. And that's how I got over it. I got over it by, even if I didn't fully believe that I'd either look good in it or wanted to act a certain way or try this new thing, I believed that I wanted to. And that belief system is winning. And repetition in that belief system, it's constantly pushing yourself. It's going to fight back. You're going to have tension. But you can say something a million times, just repetitively, not annoyingly, but just confident. And people believe it. They start to become attracted to the idea.
Dude, if you believe it, they believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and you've got to believe it for them to believe it. I mean, if you're, and that's kind of where we get a little self-conscious, if it's like, oh, you know what, we're in the mirror, if you don't amp yourself up enough and you let other people like, oh, those are silly, and you don't, and you're like, oh, maybe they are stupid. You're just walking around feeling dumb-legged all day, you know? you gotta have that confidence, like go into the mirror and give yourself the old finger gun, ciao, and
Boom.
say, you know what, you do look pretty good.
You
and like
have to be your biggest fan.
And it's not about good, you know, comparatively. It's about, I feel like this is a little bit of me. Like I feel like this feels nice. You know, I like the way these pants look on me.
And if you just imagine it, like, you would feel overjoyed if you had worn something and you walked outside and you saw someone wearing the exact same outfit or something very close in resemblance to it. And if you guys hit it off and said, oh, I have the same mutual, you know, hobbies and things like that. Like, I love to skate. I wear skate shoes and I dress like a skater, whatever. Like, you just met a friend and that makes you extremely happy. There's just because you don't follow the same trends and vibes as everyone else doesn't mean that there's not someone else out there that's trying to do the same thing as you. Keep showing who you are, so that others can find people like you, and that's, you create a bond and a friendship.
Right.
It's, if you're hiding who you are, you're never going to find people that are like you, because they might be hiding who they are.
Exactly.
And if you're constantly hiding just to follow what makes everyone else happy, when they only see you for a split second of their day, what's the point of that?
Dude, that's beautiful. I like the way you put that. That's good.
Yeah,
that's important.
It's a thing that's really, it's a big misconception. I think society right now is it's getting better, but the lack of being confident in oneself is, it's sad that
right.
I've fallen victim to it too, but it's sad that people actually change their life and change their thought process and their perspectives and kind of degrade themselves because they're not doing what's cool to someone else.
Right.
You know?
That's not fair. It doesn't make any sense either.
No.
And it's like, wait, like you're choosing someone else's version of yes over your version of yes.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like somewhere in my heart, like that little voice that says like, I want those pants. I bought them because I want to wear them. Like, that's the voice that's true. That's truth. That's real. That's the real voice. Not like the popular girl who says that you're a spaz, who wears spazzy red pants, whatever it might be.
And that's what's so, it really hurts when you know someone, especially that you care about, degrades you in such a way. Right. And they have that power. Like, you don't understand how much power and just conviction you have over someone just by telling them, hey, like, I don't like that, or you look stupid, or whatever the case may be. That is ultimate power over someone's mind. You're mind controlling. You're manipulating their thoughts and their ideas when they're already confused on what people are trying to figure themselves out. They don't know. That's everyone's problem. I don't know. I feel like I don't know myself. I feel like I'm lost. I feel like I'm all this stuff.
It's a great
question.
You
are, because there's so many people that are constantly manipulating your path on who you perceive yourself to be.
Right. Telling you that you're someone other than what you are. They're allowing they're telling the sun to be more like the moon. You know, so I was thinking as you're saying that, I actually have this friend group, which I can't wait for you to meet them. This friend group that through some cool circumstances like led to like random Twitter follows through friends of friends, and I was in EDC Vegas with a friend, and essentially these people who live up in Seattle now, my Seattle friends now, they were also in Vegas at EDC. We hadn't met. We only had one. I only had one, Gabby, on Twitter. Anyway, it was like, hey, we have mutual friends. I have you on Twitter. You want to meet up with us? And we're like, shit, yeah. Like, ended up being really cool friends. Sprouted this wonderful friendship. I started traveling. We started doing Coachella together every year. Anyway, so I started to feel, I got this feeling when I'd hang out with them, man, like I felt so much like myself. Like I felt so comfortable. You know, we go to festivals, so you kind of like dress up extra. I really always like dressing up at festivals and stuff, you know. But what they would do is you would wake up, like everybody's like drinking the night before, you know, everybody wakes up kind of hungover, whatever. But still, all the girls, all the guys, good morning, like how'd you sleep? Like here's a glass of water. And then you start getting ready. and they're like, I love that top, or like, oh, those shoes look good, or like, you look beautiful today, or like, your skin's glowing. Like, it's compliments, but they're true, they're sincere. Like, it's, they genuinely care. They're like, I love this person next to me, we had a wonderful time last night, I genuinely love this thing about them. You come out with this outfit and they're like, that looks so cool. They talk to you about it, break it down. It started like, it was weird because I hadn't really experienced that. Like, my friends and I had this, oh, that's cool, like, oh, that's cool, man, or whatever, like a casual kind of a man, like, sort of interaction. But I don't know, these people, I know it's just clothes, you know, and extend to other compliments, but just complimenting someone can do so much. And it could also shine a light on the fact that the opposite of a compliment, making fun of what someone is choosing to do or wear, whatever, is super painful, especially at a young age. It's hard, you know, in the joking, it has to be clear that it's a joke. It has to be a joke to both parties, or it's not entirely a joke. And a lot of times you don't have to change who you are if you're a joking person, but a lot of times it's just one conversation away, you know. Someone's making fun of you, just gotta have that conversation.
And there's just I think people don't understand the difference between a degrading remark and just talking shit with a friend, you know, and just like kind of BSing them and making a joke about it. What I find is that a lot of people will kind of hide their remarks behind a BS sort of stance in a way that they approach a situation. Like, they'll say like, oh, look, your pants look stupid, man, you look dumb, and like laugh at it, and then that's supposed to be that. Or like, dude, you look fucking gay, and then leave it at that, and then leave.
It was like the most common phrase growing up.
Yeah.
You say that.
And then, but you don't realize it, like, every time you like walked around them and they kind of made fun of it and just poked a little bit, those pokes add up. And then you go home and you're like, am I portraying myself as like a gay man? Like, am I... Right.
Because I'm not gay, but I don't want people to think I'm gay.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. And it's like, there's BS, and then there's the BS turns to degrading, and I find that so much in a lot of the ways that people treat each other. It's like, it's just, to them, it feels like nothing. It's just a small jab.
But to other people, it's sometimes a genuine debacle.
Yeah, but if you get fucking jabbed, if you got a jab in the face, you're gonna feel it. Like, obviously it's not the strongest punch. You get jabbed 20 times in the face, you're gonna be hurting pretty bad, and you're gonna be pretty pissed.
At least a little confused, a little disoriented. Like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah,
what's happening? Where am I? I got punched.
Exactly.
But so here's the thing, though. Here's the incorrect analysis of that is to like, well, you can't ever joke with anybody. You just gotta be, you gotta look everybody in the face and say you love them. And like, some people aren't like that. But I think that there needs to be, of course, emotional intelligence to know that this person's joking. But I think that there needs to be, I don't know, among humor, among like the typical man-to-man teasing thing, there's got to be some more clarity, some more I don't know, some more level ground between, because we've got to be able to have comedy. Comedy is the most important thing. We've got to be able to poke fun at each other. We've got to, I guess what we need to do is, as individuals, we need to get better at reading. Like, you know, so like, if I'm an uncle and I'm poking fun at my nephew about something, I need to look down and be like, he doesn't like that, dude. He's clearly like uncomfortable, and he doesn't like that joke. You need to be aware of what you're saying. Like, and so I use that example just because I have nephews now, and I feel like back in my head I remember like uncles jokingly calling me gay or something. But I think that the jokes, they got to be available, right? Like we've got to be able to make fun of it. But so how do you just got to get better at reading people's body language and emotions, I guess. Yeah,
but I mean, obviously that is like number one. But I feel like it's tough because you have to joke. Like, that's going to come out. It's just what happens with guys, what happens with us. Like, I do it too. I think the problem is that, like, once people recognize it, they almost kind of shell up, and I only know from my perspective, and I know that if I did that to someone, and it has happened, and I look back, I didn't say anything to them like, oh, I'm sorry, or maybe I took that too far or whatever, and just kind of made it a better situation. A lot of people will just kind of bottle it up and then take it with them.
Right.
And then that kind of hurts them too. And it kind of puts a weird damper on your guys' relationship. I mean, obviously things bounce back immediately if it's someone you love. But if it's some random person, then I mean, I hope no random person is just going out there just talking shit to you, because I feel like that is crazy. Like, I just give the most respect to people who I don't know at all and talk shit to.
That's how the world should be. You got to treat everybody with respect first and foremost.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we talked about bromance. So overall, friends, it's okay to have a bromance.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it is just
Brandon,
fine.
I appreciate your friendship. I'm glad we met. We just fist
give you knuckles over there.
We just knucked it up. Let's talk about. I want to get just like a little bit of an overview, and then right afterwards, feel free. Let's dive into whatever you had wanted to discuss. Awesome. But I do want to give a little rundown. What's Wyld Productions? What's your company?
Wyld Productions is a media production agency. Right now, specializing in weddings, corporate commercials, and things like that. But I do want to begin to move into the movie scene, short films, and things like that. I feel like my strong suit is actually relaying emotions and drawing people in with storytelling. I love storytelling. And I feel like I haven't even dove into that at all, because weddings has been my version of storytelling now. Kind of formulating how a day goes down and how I want to portray that day. But yeah, as of now, I'm just kind of figure out what I want, just kind of like wearing a new pair of clothes all the time. Like, I'll film myself podcasting. I'll film.
Yeah, you've got a podcast starting up pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll film the podcast, Wyld Talk. It's going to be coming on pretty soon here. I like doing like mini documentary style shoots. Nature shoots are one of my favorite.
Yeah, dude, your nature stuff is super beautiful.
Yeah,
wedding stuff is great too, but
yes.
I like you have an eye for sure.
That seems to be everyone's favorite so far, is the way I incorporate nature into it, and it's just my job, man. That's what I like to do. So
yeah, cool, dude. That's super exciting. Yeah, I'm excited for the future of our two companies, or our two branches of whatever this is. Company seems like a weirdo word.
What is technically, for the people that don't know what Junkyard Love is, I'll pan around this room with my camera one day and show you how cool it is.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. It started, I was like, I've been a DJ for 8 years. This started as like, I'm practicing down here. It's a huge basement of my home. And it just turned into like putting more and more work on it. And then I just turned it into my creative studio, essentially. It's like a kind of a recording studio. I don't have anything too crazy expensive. It's got what we need for any sort of like live recordings. But it's also kind of just a creative zone. It's a sanctuary down here for sure. But Junkyard Love represents kind of all the things that I have my hands in. I'm someone who's working on a little bit of everything at once. I'm a general creator. It's kind of my way of jumping out of. I've been DJ Kronos for so many years, and I've felt a little boxed in, frankly, by it. And so I feel like Junkyard Love is kind of just a way of me expanding from being just a DJ and an audio engineer, and kind of just being a creative collective. So I have podcasts, like life coaching, motivational stuff coming out. I'll have meditations, guided meditations. I'm still going to sneak some DJ mixes in there. I've been learning to play a little bit of music, and I work with a lot of bands. So it's it's just a bunch of everything. I'm a man of novelty and fascination and inspiration, and I want to, I don't know, I guess, mine the world and mine creative thought and try to humanize and relay in a realistic form what I'm learning back to thought. Damn it! I know. I'm trying to communicate.
It's okay. It's a lot of emotions, but that's literally one of the things that drew me to such a strong bromance with you, dude. You are like fearless when it comes to the creative world. There is such a stigma of now if you're not necessarily like good at something and like, you know, a talented musician or a talented DJ or whatever the case may be, then you should not try to post it or try it, or if you're not a singer, don't sing, or things like that. Like, you literally take on everything as if you are the world's greatest singer, and you practice making music as if you know how to make music.
I have to.
Without any fear of judgment or anything like that. It's all for the love of creativity and pushing yourself to see, all right, what else can I do? And like, you can do these things. That's what people will come up to creative people all the time, and they'll say like, I wish I had your gifts. Like, I really, really want to harness playing a guitar. Or I really want to harness, like, you just shoot photos so good. Like, I wish I can take photos so that good. You have an eye for it. Right. Yes, some people do have an eye for it. Yes, some people are better than others.
Certainly.
But
some people have better voices than others.
Yes, yeah. But people don't try, even if that sounds garbage. It's going to sound garbage at first. Yeah. You're not going to be Mozart when you play the piano. First, you're going to suck. Yeah. You don't know if you can play unless you play for a year or a month or, you know, however long you want to go for. Try it. If you don't enjoy it, you know that you don't enjoy that now. You know, it's like,
yeah, exactly. You
the more
really
you know,
try, though.
The more you know, the more you try, the more you know yourself.
Right.
And specifically what you do and do not like, just like food. You have to try everything like it's food and know that, like, all right, music is somewhat like green beans to me, and I fucking hate green beans. And like, it's just not tasty to me.
But if you're like, I know some people really like green beans.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Let's try to eat green beans every day for 30 days and see if I really like green beans. And if not, let's say, all right, I'll write it down on a piece of paper. Yeah. I do not like green beans forever.
But that's the thing is, like, people don't know that they don't like it until they've done it for a while. Like, like for the most part, like if I were to pick up a guitar and try and play it, I don't immediately look at the guitar and say, I don't like playing you. Like, I don't even want to touch you, you know, like, you just don't sound good in my hands. Like, I don't enjoy the way you make my fingers feel. Like 90% of people, maybe 100%, don't look at something and go like, I never want to try that, unless it's like bungee jumping or something, which I'm not down for.
No,
maybe one day.
Jumping, bro. I don't know about that one. Skydiving, yes. Bungee jumping, no.
But if I have any advice, it's literally, if you are fascinated in anything whatsoever, you have an inkling of yearning to do this, try it out. Try it out every single day. Do it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes every single day. You'll realize that you're getting better, and you're going to snap one day and go, oh my God, I'm actually like understanding the fundamentals of this.
Right.
It's the foundation for learning something. And I think knowledge and learning things is the way that you continuously find joy and happiness in life. Because people are constantly searching for happiness, and they're like, I can't find it no matter what I do. Like, I tried going to the gym and I tried doing these things are foundations for you to live a healthy life and a happy life, but there are things that you need to attain. The standard of having a goal and setting out and going through trials and tribulations to achieve that goal is what keeps you happy. And that's what I tell people is, like, if they ask me, like, you know, you're so good, like, I wish I had this talent. Pick up a camera. Like, pick it up and like take pictures. I'll show you my pictures when I first started. They were shit.
Yeah, dude.
They literally were shit, and I was shooting on auto settings. You know, the camera was doing all the work. I wasn't even doing anything. Now I understand a camera. Now I can touch it and move it and adjust it, and I know how to get a look I want. Like, I now know things that I never thought I would know, and it's brought me so much joy, and I think it'll bring a lot of people joy.
Dude, I agree. I think also once you know something, sitting at the fact that you still don't know anything, like there's so many things, like we were just talking about drones, for example. There's so much that you are probably agreeably, dude, I know nothing about this. And some days, like me with audio stuff, there's so much that I'm like, I'm an idiot. Yeah. I don't know anything about
I'm a monkey.
And yeah, but then there's other things people are like, what is that? And then you got to remember, like, oh, okay, there was a point where I didn't know what any of this was either. And just having the passion, shooting your passion towards that, is kind of like how you fill in the blanks in between your life, and you realize that searching and learning something new, trying to look for creative passions, is really a lot of what brings fulfillment to your what connects you to your soul, you know, whatever that might be. Yeah,
that's the thing, is that everyone is constantly looking ahead. I mean, I even find myself doing it is when I'm working on what I'm doing now. I'm studying the people that are ahead of me. Obviously, it's what you do. You go into a karate class, you watch your master, you know, teach you how to do something so you can become better. But a lot of the times I'll get my sights set on, oh, I'm not that good. You know, I'm not where I was. But the past me would look at me now and go, holy shit, I wish I was there.
Right. You know, think, like, you're so cool.
Whoa, you know.
Yeah, think about you as like an older brother, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of a cool thing to do. Like Shaylee always says, like something along the lines of, think of like what 16-year-old you would want. And if you think of yourself now, you know, as like, oh man, I'm just the older brother of my young self, like, oh shit, I have learned a lot. But the thing is, what stops you from learning a lot is saying, that's not, I don't know how to use a camera, I don't know, like, oh, I wish I could do that. Like saying that's not for you, saying that you can't do it. The thing about like that's, you know, I want to outwardly be, you know, a great gatekeeper breaker, you know, like people thinking like I can't play piano because I'm not good. Like don't get on a stage and say I'm really good and then suck. Like screw stages, get in your basement and just play for hours and suck. And then if you want to be good at basketball, go to your basketball hoop outside and suck and miss 100 and then maybe you're going to make one. But I think the world of creativity is people think it's like only for a certain type of person. And certainly there is more people who are prone to certain creative things. Certain people are just magically wonderful at certain things, but they also love it, and so they do it a lot. But I just want it to be clear. I want to make sure everybody knows, like, there's no gatekeepers. You're allowed to play music. You're allowed to draw. You're allowed to paint. You're allowed to dance. You're allowed to do yoga and suck at it. You're allowed to shoot basketballs and suck at shooting those. You're allowed to do whatever you want and suck at it. Don't lie. Don't lie to anybody and say that you're good at it. Don't try to compare yourself and say that being good is even what the point is. Just feeling the art of creating something as a human is it's important. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and
we're supposed to do that.
It's the difference between an artist and someone who wants to create art is the amount of time the artist spends, the amount of time that the creative person or the person that wants to create dreams about spending, you know, dreams about doing this.
I like that.
The artist does. The creative person who wants to create dreams, they spend the same amount of time. I bet you they spend the same amount of time doing and thinking. One of them just does. So you have to be a doer. You have to spend the time. It's so exhausting sometimes. It's late nights because you're so enthralled in it, and then it'll mess up your habits and it'll throw you in a funk and your head will be crazy. And that's the battle. That is the battle of being an artist. It's a lot of ups
the waves
and downs.
Of emotion.
Yeah. And a lot of people that aren't wholeheartedly believing that they are a creative and a creative person will drop out somewhere along along the lines. They'll start drowning and they'll give it up. And
if they even start.
If they even fully start. And so that's the thing. It's time. It's if you want to be good at something, even the people who suck, even if you become good and you're just an average guitarist from someone else's standard who is a phenomenal guitar player who started off just okay and is now a phenom, the level of growth is still the same. You have become a suck guitar player to an average, mediocre, pretty good, knows how to play songs and can play the guitar. That amount of growth is amazing. It's phenomenal, and it should give you the utmost joy knowing that, like, still, like, okay, I'm not the best. I aspire to be just like him, you know, or just like whoever is playing the guitar and shredding it like that. I can't do that at the moment, but the amount of growth that I've done and knowing the satisfaction that I can strum on this thing and I can make music is so satisfying. To me, a normal person, I would love to play the guitar.
A normal person.
Yeah, I feel like a normal person at the moment.
Everybody feels like a normal person, though. I feel like even the people who are like, you're like, oh, you're so gifted. They're serious when they're like, I don't know. I just picked up the thing and just, I don't know. I'm not gifted, you know. Like they're like that nervous sort of whatever. It's true about everyone, man. Like nobody really. I mean, maybe some people's egos think they are, but like nobody really feels like
you're just a person.
Yeah, you're just a person, dude. And creating is something a person can do. Yeah. And everyone's allowed to do it. And I just think that, I mean, it's, I think something that we're going to do together with a lot of the stuff that we're creating and that we're working on together with just super exciting stuff is going to show a lot of people. I hope it shows a lot of people, like, you're allowed to create, you know.
Yeah, like you're allowed to express.
Yeah, you're allowed to be inspired by whatever's around you, and you're allowed to, you know, what we should do is we should say, if you happen to be listening to this podcast, how about for the next week, you make a rule with yourself that you don't say, I don't do that, or I'm not good at that. So if someone's like, hey, do you want to come over and paint later? You can't say, I suck at painting. You're not allowed to say, I suck at anything. I don't do that. I suck at that, therefore I'm not going to do it. So if something comes up and there's an opportunity to do something in the next 7 days, listener,
or if there are no opportunities, create an opportunity to do something outside of the box and just tell yourself, hey, like, my parents gave me a guitar last summer. Maybe I'll practice that for 20 minutes. Or maybe I feel like I suck at painting, so I'll invite some friends over, or I'll just sit and paint by myself and, like, have no judgments and just paint whatever I want to. Try and look up a picture online and see if you can paint it, or just whatever the case may be. Just doing something that throws you off your everyday is going to jumpstart something creative within your body. It's going to give you some serious happiness, because I know changing up the mundane routine, even if your routine is so cool to someone else, it becomes mundane to you. Like if you ran every morning and you lifted and you came home and you cooked 2 eggs and you know, did all this stuff. If you did it every single day, you're going to be like, dude, like, yes, I do feel good. I'm happy that I do this. I kick ass. But at the same time, sometimes you want something a little different.
It's
you know
okay
what I mean?
Too.
Yeah. So
be creative with that.
Yeah. I hope that people just try something out of the box so that it'll give them some sort of jump start to whatever it is. And if it's the gym, go hit the gym, because I love the gym.
Go hit the gym.
Go hit it.
Or stop hitting the gym. Actually, that's what happened with me. Is I had been working out for so long.
Or stop.
I had gone through waves of just loving the gym. I would hang out with a bunch of bodybuilders. I would get big, get small, get kind of chubby big, and then I stopped going to the gym and started doing my yoga stuff. And now I haven't been to the gym for like a year. So yeah, just switching it up. But you're switching up, not you're switching it up in pursuit of health. I was like, it just wasn't feeling right. It wasn't getting what I needed it to give me. And so I started pursuing something that felt better, which was yoga, working out at home, running around here, trail running stuff. We did some trail running the other day.
That was fun.
Dude, that was wild fun.
That is.
Trail running is certainly cool. Dude, that's the crazy thing. Trail running, what do you think about that? It's got to be super primitive, right? That kind of, I compare it to if you're a skier, diving in and out of trees, right?
Yeah.
Like you're heshing, and you don't see the trees at all. You only see your path. You only see the one white. Everything else is a blur. You're hauling ass. You know, you're a skier.
Yeah.
But the trees are just zoom, zoom. Trail running feels kind of like, dude, you're only on the path.
It's like going through space. Like you're going through this weird like path of space that's drawn out for you. And there is something super primitive about it. Like there's something innately inside that, like, yes, it is tough, and yes, it's physically challenging, but it brings some sort of peace and some sort of like rhythmic movement in your body. It's this flow state. Yeah, it's a flow state that feels, especially trail running and being out in nature and stuff. You almost get connected to the trail itself, and you almost flow with the trail, and you become one, and then suddenly you become one with everything, because you're in balance. You're literally balancing around curves and bends and ups and downs.
Yeah.
You're
very quickly throwing your body weight around too. I mean, it's kind of strategic. You know, you notice like the one we did, you get to spots where there's puddles or there's places where you got to suddenly slow down to cross a narrow little bridge thing. Like, it's not difficult, but slow down and then speed back up. But you're also turning, and so, you know, I'll notice parts when we did it. We'd put like our foot up like like 2 feet up high on a rock wall or something, or, you know, a foot up high, and kind of just like move our whole body weight just so quickly. You know, we don't know this trail, but it just seems like it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool to just notice like how much you can haul ass through the woods when you have an open, like, dude, it's like, damn, we are actually badass. But it's crazy because, you know, we used to, that's how we would get food is a deer could out sprint us, but we could outrun him in longevity. And so we would just
keep it going.
Probably flow state. Dude, we probably chase these motherfuckers for miles.
For
sure. There's no doubt.
They're like running, like, God damn, they're still behind me.
Well, I think that's the thing, is they give up. They're like, I don't even.
Dude, I probably would too. I'd be like, dude, just spear me already. Get me in a good spot.
At least maybe like into beef jerky or something.
Something delicious.
Beef jerky, deer jerky.
Yeah, I bet you I'm so good.
I'm delicious. They just accept life because they're like, well,
dude,
I'm
delicious. So delicious.
Oh, they're gonna love my. Yep. Anyway, we trailed off into the death of a deer.
Yeah.
Scene.
Dude, somehow it gets there. Somehow we got from like skinny jeans to deer death.
Dude, it's brilliant. I
it's
don't
like
think we'll
going on YouTube for like 4 hours.
I know, dude.
Dude, I have the worst.
We are the algorithm that suggests new videos and new content as it pops up.
I bet you we are, because I literally am like, I'll type in like some camera stuff, and then next thing you know, I'm on like prehistoric dinosaurs and like why the earth is flat and stuff, and I am just like, how were dinosaurs on a flat earth?
But it's so interesting, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
this is fake.
Stop. No.
I'm just
Fuck you. The first episode of the podcast. Hey, by the way, listeners, if you don't believe that the earth is flat, you're crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna have half the fan group just like leave immediately, and the other half is gonna stick around for like just to see what's going on.
I'm like, these guys are crazy.
Where is this going? Yeah, I feel like the crazier you sound, the actual like more engagement you get. So
I'm cool with that.
If nothing works for us here, let's just start talking space is fake and like just absurd shit.
I mean, all right, hold up. How do you know space is real?
Because I've been there. I've been that high.
True. Well, okay, but that's the thing. You haven't been to space. You have been space. You have become space.
Been spacey. I'm spacing right now.
Spaced the fuck out. But,
yeah. In class, I've been spaced out for sure. But you have no way of proving it, except for hopefully the people at NASA are telling us the truth and you know, things like that, which is just a whole nother topic of like, how do you know that smart people and scientists and everything are literally telling you the truth? Like, everyone innately just believes everything that like a scientist may say, or like some like known facts, you know what I mean? Like, but like so many people are so quick to just put a fucking microwave in your house and like throw your food in it, and like if I asked you like, what does a microwave do?
How does it work? Like, I don't know.
It heats it up with radio waves. No, it doesn't. it grabs the water molecules and shakes them up so fast that that they become hot, and then your food gets hot, and then that's how you
Which
eat.
is fucking crazy. Why do we have that? I feel like we shouldn't have that control. I don't know. It seems weird.
It's so nuts. You can cook something in a minute, but literally, I mean, it is safe, and there are nothing that's causing you to have like cancer or any chemical waves that are messing up your molecular structure.
Let's say structure. That sounds like a cooler word.
Okay, cool.
Molecular structure.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't lie about that. They were honest with that. But just the simple fact of saying, like, if someone presents you with knowledge, so many people are so quick, Facebook quick, to be like, fact. Like, that's a fucking fact. I'm going to die with this shit.
I know.
And I'm like, dude, well, I don't know if this is real. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, if you really want to extend it, I mean, so I've gone down rabbit holes on YouTube of just watching this guy, Leo Gara.
Sounds correct.
Actualize.net. Have you heard? Yeah. Sounds correct. Sounds like you just pulled it up from your butthole. He essentially sits there and talks for like 2 hours about like what is truth, what's real, like what's truth of reality or whatever. It's like, oh shit, like the way that we believe everything is just like, all right, well, so you read that? And they're like, uh-huh. And you're like, you sure you read that? And they're like, mm-hmm. And you're like, where'd you read it? And they're like, it was a book, then it's right. And you're like, okay. And that's how everything works, dude. Exactly. I mean, it's just, that's the thing though, is, outside of language, outside of, like what words are on paper in a sentence as it is, all back to the root of that, what truth really is you gotta feel it. You've got to be like, I know this to be true. I know this to be right. And that's what started truth. It seems like, anyway, it seems like that's the birth of truth is not just your gut feeling as we know it, but your truth innately, and we each have our own. So it's kind of weird.
I think that's what's so ingrained in our society about creativity, and why we are so attracted to creating art, because I believe art at its very core is truth. Like if you were to play a song and you show the keys and why you played that, there's truth behind it. There's this sound and these keys will make that sound. It is true. It's known that this will make that, and
right. And we have to discover that.
And it's specific between every other person. That's why it's so like, whoa, that's what you see as your truth, and that's what you see when you're playing this, is like so profound. It's so amazing, and that's what's so enticing. But that's why I think so many people are drawn to creativity. It's there's no sort of like BS behind it. There's no sort of like, I don't know, is that true? Like, I feel like that might have been a different key you played and you're just lying to me. No, this is, if I say an A minor, like, that's what an A minor sounds like, and like you can play it too. Yeah. And it'll
somebody
sound
found that, like some like dumb ape who had a rock in his hand, like eventually his lineage, that was somebody there learned like, oh, what's that?
Could you imagine
but it's
that
something
ape
they discovered? Right. He's with he finds A minor with a rock.
Just vibing, just fucking EDC like turntable with rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Dude,
like,
there's literally 7 people in the audience. There's so many that you can't even get in. 7 whole people because ratios.
They're all fucking.
They're all swinging their big dumb ape fists around in circles,
which looks just like EDC.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
just
I was
so
describing
awesome.
2017.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear that pop right then?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so that's something, I think it's my headphone amplifier, and it's terrifying, and I think that it turns my fight or flight on. Okay. It's definitely not on the recording, but just a little side note for me. So, oh dang, I just broke the third wall. I feel like I just... That's the crazy thing. So that's cool. I was just mentioning our headphones, and when you're in headphones, I feel like you kind of lock into this like double flow state of like podcasting. Yeah. Like we're like in depth with this conversation.
Yeah.
But then I mentioned the headphones, and it felt like I was like oh yeah, like real life. Like for a second, I started hearing the sounds out here.
Yeah.
Like your focus. It's kind of interesting how our focus goes. And when you're having like genuinely intellect, perhaps not the last thing we're talking about. Intellectual conversation. We started with space. Is it real?
Space is fake.
Yeah, no, you do kind of lock into it. But it's interesting. I feel like that's a good step. So as we were locked in here, right, we're having this conversation, like we're kind of in like this flow state of conversation. I'm building off what you're saying. I'm not checking my phone, whatever. I'm hearing what you're hearing. You're hearing what I'm hearing.
I think that's what's so important about podcasts too. It's
right.
like, I feel like I've relearned what conversation is due to a podcast, and it is extremely daunting. It is very scary. Like just to even be on the spot with someone, because there's so many times where I have like awkward exchanges and I'm talking to someone and the conversation literally goes nowhere, and it's like both of us are at a standstill, and where do I even go?
Sometimes you're throwing things. You're like, hey, how is Mary?
And both of you literally will go like off into your own zone, and then you'll snap and like do that weird like fake thing, like you were saying, like, well, like, how's your kids, by the way, or like,
yeah. Dude, it's a thing that just
how's your
turns
job?
On. It's a loop.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, job's good, doing the same thing, boom, and it's like, I'm not even having conversation at this point. Like, I almost want to say like, dude, we're not having good convo right now, and we should come back to this another day. Yeah, because
I mean, okay, seriously though, I mean, I am a man who, believe it or not, for how much I'm often blabbing, but there's moments, there's days, there's weeks, sometimes months where I really prefer silence. Maybe not months, that's intense, but I'm saying I think it would be cool if there's a time where you could be like, this conversation isn't going anywhere. You can exchange a look, glance, and you both sit in silence for the next hour. Like, and enjoy it though, not like, oh my gosh, this date is so awkward, and you retreat to your phone to talk about how terrible your situation is right now instead of experiencing it as something else. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that
which I can't blame you for.
Right. The importance of podcasting, man, is crazy, because I think I was always a pretty confident, exuberant, like I was an actor growing up, like young, like I enjoyed, I wasn't so much outwardly like extroverted, but there was things where I'm like, I'm good at this. Like I had salesman jobs when I was 16. Like I remember the interview, like suddenly she'd be like, sell me this pen. She handed it to me and I'd be like, oh shit. And I would killed it. I'd like, oh,
what's
this pen right here? Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, that too. No, but I would sell it. Like I would tell about the things of the pen. But anyway, so I would be good at speaking. I'd be good at situations. I was always good at observing the other person and seeing what kind of situation, like what part of Jake, what type of my chameleon personality needs to match the situation, right? Well, and as I became more depressed and more just sucked into social media too, all these things in my life, I began to lose those, let's say, abilities of human interaction and whatever. But so I started when hanging out by myself, which I was more comfortable that way, but I would start watching YouTube's podcasts and stuff. People are talking back and forth. And I started watching eye contact, and I started realizing man, I don't do that. I don't want to do that. I'm very uncomfortable around people. Now I look at my feet. I wasn't always like this. So it gave me this, just because I wasn't always like this, I was like, this is weird. I don't want to be this person who can't make eye contact, who can't have conversations, who is so afraid of losing my train of thought in the middle of my thought that I don't even talk to anybody. So I think that you almost have to get it back. And I think that social media and the way that we talk to Alexa, I won't say...
Yeah, because she'll start going off.
I won't say Lord Voldemort's name because there's one sitting next to us. But but I think that the way that automation and weird stuff with technology and just us being sucked on our phone, the way we type and shorten things, language, and a lot of our speaking abilities and looking each other in the eye, stuff like that, communicating ourselves and communicating what we're trying to fucking say, has been really pushed away in the last few years, in the last since the iPhone came out, let's just say.
Yeah.
So I think that podcasts really help, especially when people get the visual of them too.
Mm-hmm.
They help people understand conversations and help listen. I've already improved my listening skills. I've already I listened to the first couple. I was like, great. I was interrupting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you learn a lot from podcasting.
But also, you learn a lot regardless, but I like the way that like you're locked in and the only thing that I can hear is you. The only thing you can hear is me, and the only thing that we're seeing is each other.
Yep.
And it just provides this like just almost like confined, like secluded box of just like
Right.
me to you, you to me, and there's nothing else but that. And that whole focus of like, it's almost like going to practice like talking. Like if you were to go to like a karate class for like talking and like,
holy shit, bro, it's totally that.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's,
I feel like
it's
this
crazy.
is the best. I feel like we just like hacked. It's like people are gonna listen to us talk, and we're just practicing. Like we're just getting good because the being good at conversation and being good at talking and understanding and listening is it's a tool that you have to sharpen for sure.
It's
so like we're gonna get good at this, and I feel like we're stealing from the world now.
Yeah, and I feel like your voice is the most attractive thing about you as an individual. I think it can be used in ways that are more powerful than anything that you can do physically.
Right.
Because if you look at people who are insanely talented and have incredible music abilities, they get looked at as this artist. But I've seen people who are that and then have this amazing voice and can project themselves in a way in which they talk and can express themselves as a person and not an artist, is just like, I respect them more for them as a individual and as a person than for their art itself. I see them as a person and not just this kind of figment of people's imagination, because like if I were to meet fucking like Post Malone or something, like I only know him for his music.
Right.
And and like people only know me now for my video and photo skills. Like anytime I meet anyone that I know or that know of me in a way, people want to have conversation with you if you obviously see them and you know them. And the first thing they're going to say is, oh, dude, I love your camera shit. Or, oh, dude, I love the way you take pictures. That's crazy to me. Like, you literally are, like, looking at me for my skill. And, like, you're looking at me as an artist. And, like, you're trying to talk through to me from my creative self. Like, while I'm just kind of kicking it and, like, being my normal self. Like, my creative self and my normal self is very different. My mindset is different. My tenacity for creating is different. You're talking to a different person. That's why I gave myself a different persona of Zack Wyld as being that, because when I step into that state, that's when I can become that part of me.
Right.
When I'm Brandon, I'm just a normal guy trying to have a good conversation with someone, which, yes, I can talk about that. But people look to you just like people look to comedians to make them laugh on the street.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you're a clownfish. Aren't you funny?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, no, like I saw Kevin Hart on a podcast, and he's like, dude, like everyone comes up to me and expects me to make them laugh. And
so weird.
And like, I'm not funny all the time. He literally said it. It's like, I'm not funny all the time. I can't be funny all the time. I would lose my sense of funniness. I would
Bro, am I
lose
going to
my
be DJing
creativity.
24 hours a day? Like, do I just have wheels? I'm just like, hey, man.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to fucking scratch everywhere I go and like create a fucking little rave for you, for everyone walking down the street.
That's the thing is the way that we talk to each other, the way that we label each other, the way that we like see like, here's who you are, is your job, your thing. Like what you do that brings in money is who you are. And it's like, wait, hold up, but I'm a lot more like, and that's, creative people understand that, that's why they make aliases. Like, so aliases in the avatars to be in the world. I mean, that's...
It seems psychotic to so many people, but it makes so much sense when you're doing it yourself. And like, so many people have asked me, like I literally don't understand why you call yourself that. Like, are you crazy, or like, are you like I don't get it. That seems like some sort of self-defense thing, or like some sort of thing that you don't want to present yourself as, you know, Brandon, because you're afraid to be Brandon or something like that. You know, it's like, no, like I'm separating my creative self and a version of myself in which I have to slip into a different mindset and a different being, basically, to accomplish this goal, versus me just being myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to be seen as, dude. Yeah. That it reminds me. I had this gig one time where they put like, well, it's more than once. This happens more than once. But this main one, they put like on a billboard letterboard thing, like DJ Jake Rines, and I was like, I created Kronos so I could just have that alias and I could live like that. Yeah. And it's hard because you kind of want to separate. Like, I don't want to talk about music all the time. Sometimes I just want to chill and be like, hey, how are you? Like, did you? I don't know. I mean, the same thing with you. Like it's cool that they recognize you as your artistry at first.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Which is great. And that, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, you know, if that's the way that, if you're like, I don't know how to approach this person, but I think they're really cool, I'm going to use this as an in way, like, hey man, I really like your photography, whatever to whatever. But then realize that, like, hey, this is also a human. Like, you love his art. You just told him that. Like, that's so cool. But now, like, just talk to him. You know, he's just a dude. Like, you know, he also has emotions and feelings. You know?
It seems like I know everyone's intentions are good and they want to spark conversation and get to know someone who's kind of trying to follow their goals and dreams and stuff. But they kind of like go down the YouTube rabbit hole of like not changing topics and things like that. And it's like, all right, well, you take pictures, and it's like, oh, well, what about this? And what about this? And do you think you create this? And then ultimately it leads to, my friends are looking to get into this, and we'd hope that you can help us with like free videos or something like that. And like, maybe one day we'll hit you up for family photos or whatever the case may be. And it's like, and then it's like, bye, which has happened like a billion times.
It sounds like your time just got robbed.
Yeah. And I'm like, I actually wanted to talk to you and see like what's going on. Like, my flaw is like, I don't go on social media enough to see like what's going on in people's lives. So when I actually see people, like, I'm curious to know what you've been doing.
Like how's your baby, man? You got a new house? Cool, bro. I'll
literally talk to people and be like what is new? Not like, oh, work, school. No, like what have you done? Like, did you have like a game night the other night? Did you go on a crazy ass hike? Like what has happened? Did you go out and just get shit faced on Saturday, or what? Like, who are you and what do you do?
Well, I think that, you know, even expanding on just that sentence there, I think that all of our conversation in the Western world should change to like this, like, hey, how are you? Good. I'm good. And like, how's work going? You still have the same job? Yeah, I'm still blah, blah. Like, our work is our first base level of communication. I'm sure this has been talked about a million times before, but I feel like, I don't know what the answer is. And I feel like a lot of our friend group style, you know, we have a good way of breaking through that bullshit and just talking like, hey bro, it's good to see you. Anyway, blah, blah, like we go right into it. But on this, you know, we do have to interact with people we don't know every day. But I don't think we need to have this like super fake, like just trying to meet each other and know each other really quickly through our work. I feel like it already paints us in this false, like, because a lot of people, so like when I meet people are like, oh, you're a DJ. They think it's like this cool, like I'm trying to be famous. I'm trying to be this like cool thing. And then they just work at, you know, a bank, let's say. And so when they talk to me, I'm like, hey, how are you? What's good? Oh, I'm pretty good. You know, just working at the bank, you know, same thing. Like they downplay their life because they compare their life to mine, assuming that like the DJ life is just wonderful or whatever. Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly what they're thinking, you know, but it seems like that's what comes up. Yeah, essentially, I don't, the way that we say, like, our first interaction should never be like, this person's job is better than mine, so I'm going to insult my job. And I'm also labeled by my job.
Yeah, I'm gonna downplay it because I'm not accomplishing the same goals as them and things like that. And like,
we should talk about happiness.
Yeah.
Hey man, what percentage happiness have you been in the last 6 months? I'm like at 59. Oh shit, that's not super good. What's going on?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And if you talk to creatives, they would say the same thing. Like, dude, I'm like, haven't been on my roll for like 2 months. Like, I feel like I can't even, like, the stuff that I'm creating, people may like actually be liking it and like what I'm putting out. But I personally am like, dude, I'm going crazy, like trying to edit these wedding videos, or I'm going crazy trying to do all this stuff because it's so time consuming, and I literally feel like I'm by myself for like 15 hours, and I'm like, I need to go outside and I need to talk to someone. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, I have these deadlines.
Yeah. But all you see is the end result of my fucking madness go on for like, you know,
and
2 months.
And they're like, oh, it's this talent. Like, you were born with just this wonderful talent. Like, you can just, like, you just know exactly what to do. It's like, yeah, because I spend all this time. Like, so it's hard to mine, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely a trick. That's why I want to make that. I'm going to be making a documentary soon. But that's
I know. I was like trying to hint at it, see if you wanted to talk about it. I was like, ooh,
yes,
documentary.
that's why I'm making a documentary about creatives and the artist's way of life from a mental standpoint, obviously showing what they can do, but more on the lines of what it takes to become an artist and what kind of goes down in people's lives behind the scenes. So
yeah, man, dude, it's super dope that you're doing that, like, because you've explained like your like this documentary you're working on like pretty in depth to me, and I think it's super important. Like, you're such a good listener too. Like, there's already been nights where we got like a little bit of footage and we've had conversations where like you've drawn me to explain myself in ways that I'm like, oh wow, that's like a really good way. And I think that like your work, a lot of stuff that you're doing is going to really help. I hate even saying the sentence because it goes against what I said earlier, but like, you know, creatives and non-creatives, like people who consider themselves not creative, who don't try to understand like the emotional states of creative people, a lot of like the traumatic experiences that give way to a lot of creations, right? You are really good at pulling out and I think portraying in a visual sense like the plain English of what that means, because it's what we're saying here is we're explaining feelings with just words, and feelings are so much more powerful than words. And so you're explaining like the feelings and the real emotions of what it takes to like, hey, that thing that you love so much, it took someone reaching inside their heart and ripping it out for like 4 hours a day for 16 months to give you that thing. So like, yeah, I think just it's important to mine the way that we process things and create things, and you pull it out well.
Well,
so
thank
I'm
you
excited,
for that,
man.
I appreciate that. It's gonna be a journey. I mean, it's gonna take a while, and just to gather emotion from people, just to break people's walls down. I mean, I want to meet with people who are obviously creatives in different fields, but a lot of people I won't even know. And so to try and pull out some sort of just intimate emotion and feeling from someone, I mean, that I can't just go and grab my camera and say, hey, I need you to like tell me about your past and like, you know, explain. Like, I listened to the song and you were like, almost sounded like you were in tears over it. Like, what is the meaning behind that? And it's like, some people have some shit going on, you know? Like, some people have literally been like beaten and molested as kids, and like that gives way to a sense of relief when they create music and when they write poetry or whatever the case may be, glass blowing or pottery or whatever it is. Right. It's something, a lot of the time I figured it's something pretty traumatic, or it's something that just really left a mark on their lives. And so, I mean, I bet even with you, like, once we get into this, like, there's going to be some things that I have no idea about that you may express, and I have to have responsibility for that. I don't know, but no, I have to have responsibility for that, and that is, it's a very scary thing, but it's something that I hope I can portray in the correct way, and in a way that is it really catches the eyes of the viewer, but also if it's you, I'd hope that's what emotion you're trying to relay to yourself and to everyone else. You know? So that's what I'm looking for in this documentary, is to try and master the art of giving everyone what they want in a sense that is really beneficial for everyone, in understanding what it takes to be an artist.
It's super important, man. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I have no idea how long it may take you. It's going to take as long as it takes for sure. But I'm truly honored that you're putting me in the thing. So that feels pretty cool. Just being conscious of your time here. You're a very busy man. You're always keeping yourself busy, busy and motivated with tons of work. So you do have to get going here pretty soon. So, but before then, do you want to
Yes.
mention anything else? Was there any other subject you want to make sure we touch on this first episode of our little collab thing we're going to be doing here?
Oh man, I think not, because once we start with one topic, I literally don't care what responsibilities I have in life. I'll just keep going, and like, I'm in a conversation here. Like, I don't care if I have to go to work or anything. I'm like,
dude, yeah, like we're talking about the universe. Yeah. It's important. Like, it's so funny.
I'll call you later.
We just get so sidetracked. But those, again, those are important conversations to have.
Yeah,
got to be.
And we gotta save some data for the next one. But that's what I love about talking to you, is like, I literally feel like no matter how many times we've talked for hours and hours and hours and hours. And never have we been like, all right, we ran out of things to say here. Like, no, bro. Like, it's
all of a sudden 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like, dude, I have to drive home, and I'm sleep talking right now.
Yeah, seriously. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's so cool though. I mean, I love you, buddy.
I love you too, bro. Yeah, dude, I appreciate you a lot. Yeah, hell yeah. Fist bump again. All right, bro. You'll be back soon. I just want to say, I think probably our next one, if not our one after that, our next podcast together, will likely be perhaps outside. Remember we had that idea?
Yeah.
So
a little hiking one.
So that should be pretty interesting. We get talking about fairly important subjects on hikes and stuff. So we kind of wanted to maybe start recording that, and maybe we can get to the core of some more important things. So anyway, podcast out,
man. Junkyard love. Thank you, brother.
Podcast.
Oh no.